What's up, Culture Vultures? It's your boy Zach here for another episode of The Breakdown. Sorry I've been gone so long. Your boy been working, writing, volunteering at the No Theater, all kinds of shit. But I'm back now, and I got a great movie for y'all today. It is called Nikita, starring I'm gonna butcher these names, Am Paralod, Jean Reno, Tcheki Cairo, and John Hughes Anolad. I'm really sorry, I butchered those names. This is a French film, y'all. This is a French film about a hit woman who goes from a cop-killing junkie to a assassin trained by her government to, be like this agent and, take out people and stuff like that. She goes through all the training. First of all, she's arrested because her and her whole crew, they get into a shootout with the police. She kills somebody. I think it might be a cop. And then she ends up getting arrested, stabbing the cop in the hand with a pencil because he slaps her. And then, she's like sentenced to life, and then she's like put to death. But instead of them actually putting her to death, they end up just shipping her off to like this government like agency where she ends up training, and the guy that's kind of like in charge of like the training and stuff like that, like he's one of like the the bosses there. He's played by Tcheki Cairo. The girl is played by Anne Paralod. Tcheki Cairo, by the way, he was the bad guy in the first Bad Boys film in 1995, starring Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. In that, he was like the bad guy in that movie. Whatever his name was in that. But anyway, she goes through all the training, martial arts and becoming more beautiful. She does become very pretty throughout this movie, fighting and stuff like that, and, learning how to shoot and dress and everything. And she just becomes really good. She ends up completing training, and then she's let out, and she meets a man that she ends up falling in love with at the supermarket, but she has to still go and do all these hits and everything like that, and it just begins to slowly but surely just like wear on her, and she ends up at the end, she has like this mission for like 6 months, or like she's watching this guy, and then things end up getting fucked up, and she just kind of like has like a mental breakdown, like emotionally she just can't do it anymore. And then she had been lying to her man the whole time, and then like a very beautiful moment at the end of the film is when she's laying in bed with him, and then he says, I know you never worked at like the hospital. I need to protect you. I love you. I know you've been, I know, kind of have an idea what you've been doing. I never said anything because, I love you. And they kiss, and she tells him she has to go away, and they cry together, and they make love. It's a very moving, great cinematic moment. And, yeah, it had amazing cinematography. The opening scene of her and her crew robbing, like breaking into the drugstore, getting into a shootout with the police and all that. That was great. Great use of color. There's a lot of great use of the color blue in this film, and just it kind of has like that kind of like grayish, like darkish, like lighting and just like tone to it. It's really dope, and it has a very like quiet, like tense, yet it has a very tense yet quiet tone of feeling. Like it's hard to describe. Like you watch this film, and the score is very kind of like quiet and subtle, and it's kind of just really showing you what happens, and all this crazy stuff is happening, and it's like very tense. People are getting shot, and she's like going through all this like abuse, and she's going through all this this rigorous training, and she's feeling stressed and overwhelmed. And at the end, the guy who was actually the guy John Reno he's actually the main character in the movie The Professional with Natalie Portman and Gary Oldman, and also to Danny Aiello. He's sent in to like basically like fix shit, like clean up, like after he kills a guy. It's like complicated, hard to explain. And then she said, should I call for instructions? And then he grabs her, picks her up, puts a knife to her, says, I don't ruin missions. And this is all in French, but it had English subtitles. But it's just very tense. It's a very tense film. You know what I'm saying? Like she's going through a lot. She is, constantly, you know, she's in love with her man, and every time they have like these, happy moments together, like she gets the phone call. Her code name is Josephine. Josephine, we, and it would tell her like, hey, meet at this bar in 1 hour, and they hang up, or the because the guy that like trained her, she they kind of grew a bond, and she calls him, and he calls her and says congratulations on your first mission going really well. It's very simple. All she had to do was like plant some like listening devices or something through like a tray. She described herself as like a servant girl, and then he invites her over, and he meets her fiance, and the fiance's like asking like, cause he says that he's her uncle, and then he says, hey, what was she like when she was like 8 years old? And he tells like this really like made up beautiful story about her. It's totally made up, and gives her 2 tickets to Venice for like their engagement present, and they end up going to Venice, and the hotel she's staying at, you know um, she ends up having to kill a woman there, like throughout the bathroom window. Her fiance's outside talking very sweet to her and how much he loves her, this and that. And she has to like bust the window and point out like a gun out there and kill somebody. It has like a silencer on it and shit like that. But and then he comes in, she hides like the gun in like the bathtub, and it's very it's very very good. And I just love films also too that just blend like the very low life, gritty, like urban street environment with like the high class, rich, hoity-toity, bourgeoisie, like class. Because like there's that scene where they're like walking down the street, they're dressed crazy. They're finna go rob a pharmacy, do their business, and then there's another scene where she completes training, and she has to do like her first like basically like her like final like test before like they let her out of the place where she's been training at. Like the guy takes her to dinner, and like he gives her a gift, and she opens up, it's like a Beretta, and it's got like it's fully loaded, and she has like another backup clip. And then he tells her like, I want you to shoot, like turn around and shoot like these certain people, wait till I leave, and then you go out, you run to the bathroom, hop out the window, run down the street, there's a car waiting for you. But he actually lies to her. It's like the window is like bricked up, and he wants to make sure that she's able to like to survive like this situation. You know what I'm saying? So she ends up turning around and shooting the people. She runs to the bathroom, runs, sees it's bricked up. She gets upset. She ends up escaping to the kitchen. Gets into some more, shoots out, and ends up escaping to the garbage chute and makes her way back to the place. And then she says, Bob, the window was boarded up. He's like, of course it was. And she gets mad, and he tells her, this is what we have to do when we're letting agents out of training. We have to make sure that they're really, really, really ready and can actually survive this type of shit. So she ends up surviving this, and goes on, like I said, meeting the guy and going out, committing, doing other missions and everything. It was just a very cool action scene. That whole scene at the restaurant, like I said, the scene in the beginning, and just it just has really really dope action scenes, and it's just a really really great story. I really loved it. Like I said, a very emotional performances from the lead actress and her love interest. That was very very emotional, very very emotional, because they really did love each other and form a bond. And she really wanted to have just a normal, happy life with this guy, but at the end, she had to go on the run because of the shit that happened with like the mission. And Bob, he comes back to the apartment and talks to her fiance, and Bob and her kind of agree to like they're gonna protect her, because they both have like a soft spot for her and feel a lot of warmth and love towards her. And it was very inspiring to me. You know what I'm saying? Watching this movie, because I've been writing my own screenplay recently. I'm going to be volunteering at the No Theater in Cincinnati. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get a play on. And then, I'm going to be, writing and making short films. I'm actually going to start next weekend doing that. And, it was just very inspiring to me. I watched that thinking, wow, I can make something like this. This is something that this is inspiring to me. This is something that I would want to make, and I really love the film. It was very good. I highly recommend you watch it. It's called Nikita, La Femme Nikita. The original one that came out in 1990. They made like a TV show and a couple remakes in America. This one, the original one, I haven't seen those other ones, but this one, the original one, this was the real deal. It was a dope, dope, amazing movie. It was very, fun to watch, very action packed, very cool. Cinematography was great. Direction was great. Very, very light score, and it's just a movie worth watching if you're a true cinephile, as I am. So, and like I said, it was made by Luke Besson, the guy that also made the film The Professional. If you haven't seen The Professional either, go and watch it. It's with Natalie Portman and Jean Reno. Gary Oldman, he plays like the bad guy in that movie, and Danny Aiello. So go and check that movie out. It's really, really great. And yeah, loved it, loved it, loved it. I had to make a movie about that. I'm gonna be dropping some more videos soon. Stay tuned. I got a 20-minute short film coming soon. Stay tuned to that. I love y'all. Thank you for supporting. And as always, peace, love, and soul.